What is up, Pitt fans? Welcome to another edition of the PG Pitt Show brought to you by FanDuel. I'm Stephen Thompson, cover Pitt Athletics for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, and I'm here in Berkeley, California, Bear territory, although for an afternoon it turned into Panther territory because Pitt, 6.5-point underdogs coming into this game, according to our friends at FanDuel, are 16-point winners over the NCAA tournament hopeful Cal Golden Bears. 72-56 was the final at Haas Pavilion here in Berkeley, and simply put, this is the best win of the season for the Panthers to go on the road at the end of a 6-day road trip and to come out with a win like this over a team of this caliber. Like, this is a really good Cal team. This is a team that, if you ask Jeff Capel, at least should be in the NCAA tournament. And so it is still a team, despite this loss, that you could see in the NCAA tournament. And it was a complete game, a truly complete game. And perhaps the most impressive thing was that they were able to defend and expand on a halftime lead in ways that they couldn't, at Stanford earlier this week, at Miami, against Clemson earlier in the year, at home. Just a really, top to bottom, I think, impressive performance for Pitt. It was won in kind of two different ways in the first half and the second half. I thought the defense was the most impressive thing about them in the first half. I mean, it was good all game, but I really thought that it was as intense as and as quality a defensive performance as Pitt has played really all season in that first half. Forcing 9 turnovers was huge. To do that all without fouling a ton. I believe they committed only, 13 fouls. Yeah, they were, 14 fouls actually. Or no, 13 fouls, and then, I'm reading my notes, and they had a tactical foul on Jason Capel in the second half. But the turnovers were huge. Their understanding of the game plan, their physicality, which Cal coach Mark Madsen was, I don't want to say livid, but he was definitely upset with his team for not being able to match the level of physicality that Pitt had. Pitt was aggressive, and this is, I think, the best version of themselves defensively is when they are pursuing turnovers, when they're pursuing the basketball, when they are really aggressive against opposing guards. So in that sense, that was really kind of the catalyst. And the only reason that this game stuck, that the game was, really within 10 points for most of the afternoon, or at least most of the first half, was because, and, well into the second half as well, was because Pitt was not really able to turn those turnovers into points on the other end at a high enough rate. And eventually that did come, but in the first half, they were just kind of skating by on their defense, in my opinion. It was a pretty low scoring first half, and Cal kind of turned up their offense just ever so slightly in the second half. But I thought the second half, the ability to defend their lead like they weren't able to in previous games really had a lot to do with their offense. So the Panthers go from shooting, 44% in the first half to 48% in the second half. They took fewer threes, but made them at a higher rate. I thought the Pitt offense was more clutch than good today. Overall, 46% from the field, 33% from the field. Really good free throw shooting. 13 to 16, 81.3%. And you wish you could get that in a closer game. Maybe they would have 1 or 2 more wins if they were able to replicate that at other points. But it was more timely, I think, because in the second half, they were finally able to start to turn some of those turnovers, those giveaways from Cal, into points on the other end. And once they did that, that's when the lead grew from, it was down to, a single possession multiple times in that second half. And every time Pitt had an answer. And then eventually they go on a 7-0 run with about, I want to say it was, Cal called timeout with, I want to say 6:45 left in the game. And Noyes Indricitis has a dunk that caps a 7-0 run and makes it a double-digit lead that Pitt didn't let up for the remainder of the game. So that was extremely impressive. I think the way that they were able to kind of win in both halves. On an individual level, I think Barry Dunning was huge, obviously. 15 points, 12 rebounds, a double-double, 4 offensive rebounds. He just kind of kept going at it. It took him 15 shots to get to 15 points. He was only 1 of 5 from 3, but his persistence, I think, was emblematic of really the entire effort that Pitt put on. Look, we're at a certain point in the season. Pitt has a certain record. We know the story of this team. Whatever you want to say about this Pitt basketball team and its quality, they do not quit. This is a team that is clearly fighting through to the end. This is a team that is not folded in the face of a lot of external negativity, and I'm not saying that isn't well deserved, that it isn't earned, or it didn't, there's no reason for it. But the Panthers really did have every opportunity to roll over the season and not give the rest of the year its best effort. There was a lot working against them, and they didn't. I think that's certainly commendable. I think especially in this day and age of college basketball, and I think it's I don't think anyone is looking for this kind of thing, but if you're looking for reasons to have any kind of faith in Jeff Capel and this program moving forward, that's probably one of them. Clearly, his players still continue to fight for him and play for him. I think Cam Corrin's a really good indication of that as well, playing through his ankle injury and just playing as well as he has over the past few weeks. We've talked about that before, but just the effort, the physicality, the way that they came out against a team that, in theory, had a lot more to play for. Pitt is fighting for a spot in the ACC tournament. Cal is fighting for a spot in the NCAA tournament, right? You would think that Cal would be the more motivated team coming into this game on senior night, their last home game, and instead it was the Panthers who, outmuscled them, played with greater effort, greater desire. They were first to the floor. They were first to grab loose balls, and they were rewarded for it. It was clutch, it was timely, but I think also an extremely resilient effort by these Panthers as well. And a couple other shout outs. I thought Omari Witherspoon was really good in this game. Only 2 of 6 shooting, but 5 rebounds and 6 assists to 3 turnovers, had 3 steals as well. They knew coming into this game that Cal was going to hedge really hard on ball screens and put a lot of pressure on the guards. And so it was a good test for Witherspoon, who made some nice passes against Stanford, but also had a bunch of turnovers. I want to say he had 6 turnovers or something like that. And so this was going to be really a challenge for him, but he really handled it, I thought, very well. He and the rest of the guards, to only turn it over 13 times against that kind of ball pressure, I think is really, really remarkable. He's really developing as a passer and a facilitator. You hope the shot comes along a little bit, but he, in addition to playing some really fantastic defense and contributing to that defensive effort, he was, I thought, a really solid contributor offensively. Noyes Indrisitis continues to play really well. He was 4 of 6 from 3, 6 of 11 from the field, scored 16 points with a few rebounds mixed in there as well. He was one of those closers, I think, in the second half, who was able to kind of fuel the Pitt offense and help them put this game away. He just continues to play really, really well and be one of those encouraging pieces on this team. He has gotten so much better over the course of this year as well. The guy that we saw turning the ball over frequently, missing a bunch of 3-pointers early in the season, that's not the guy that's playing right now for Pitt. He's not only scoring and shooting the ball well, but I think he's finding ways to make an impact on the game even when his shot isn't falling. So shout out Noyes, shout out Omari, Barry, Cam Corrin kind of led the way for them. And so encouraging in that sense. It was, like I said, the best win of the season for Pitt, and something that they can really hang their hat on. I thought you also, with Noyes, with Omari especially, I think you're seeing some of these younger guards that were so inconsistent throughout the year grow up a little bit. And I thought the poise that they played with in the face of that pressure wasn't just, Witherspoon has shouted him out, but I think Noyes kind of falls into that basket as well, of someone who was folding under that kind of pressure earlier in the year and is not anymore. And I think that is a sign of growth. That is a sign of improvement. That is one of the reasons why I think, despite all the losing that they have done up until this moment, this Pitt team has gotten better over the course of this year. How much better, we can quibble with, we can debate that, but I don't think it's deniable that this team has gotten better and has improved. And today was a good example of that, and a good reward for a team that has really, stuck through some adversity. Like I said, it's not some of their adversity has been self-inflicted. This is not a good team, but this is a team that has continued to show up and continued to fight and to play for whatever is left of the season. And if you're looking for any silver linings or any positives, this is the game for that, because this team is certainly getting better. And to beat a team of Cal's caliber, this is the first time in conference play that they've beaten a team with a winning record. Their other 3 wins coming against Wake Forest, Notre Dame, and Georgia Tech. I mean, those are 3 of the worst teams in the ACC. They're down there with Pitt in the basement. So to pull an upset like this was really, really remarkable, really positive. And Pitt should really enjoy their flight home because they played really well this afternoon. That's all I've got for this video. Thank you for tuning in to the PG Pitt Show. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, PG Pitt on YouTube, and follow all of our written work at post-gazette.com. I'll be back in Pittsburgh on tomorrow, Sunday, and then we'll get rolling with spring ball. The Panthers start spring practices on the gridiron on Monday, and we will, of course, have everything that you need from there. And then, of course, finishing out the basketball season. Panthers in much better position to make the ACC tournament now, so some more Pitt basketball coming your way into March, it seems like. If they can take care of business, probably get one more win at least against either Florida State on Wednesday night or Syracuse next Saturday. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you're following along, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.